Have you ever experienced a season in your coaching business where you've been giving and giving and giving, and you notice that people are showing up and they are taking what you are dishing out, but they never give anything back to you in return? If you experience this, the reason why this is happening to you is because you are giving too much away for free. And so what I want to do in this episode is I want to teach you how you can give value to your client without giving them everything you know. If you listen to my podcast often, you know that I talk to you about the 4 different types of coaches that you could be. And the first coach that we always discuss is what I like to call the generous coach. The generous coach is a coach who believes that they should give everything that they know away for free. They are the type of coach who you see who spends all day on Instagram Live or TikTok Live or, a social media live platform just giving and giving and teaching to their client. They're the type of person who you see who spends all their time making YouTube videos or doing podcast episodes, and they give a lot of great value to the point where you start questioning, why aren't you charging me for this? And if you ever reach out to them and ask them like, hey, is there a way that I can work with you on a deeper level? You'll realize that they don't have any other offers to upsell you to. They are the type of people who just feel like everything that I've learned, every experience that I overcame, I am just going to give it to you completely for free. And usually with this type of coach, they attract what I like to call the freebie seeking client. The freebie seeking client is the type of client who feels entitled to your value. They actually are the type of client who gets offended if you ever try to charge them. They don't mind picking your brain. They don't mind coming to you and asking like, hey, can you help me? Can you give me your time? Can you give me your wisdom? Can you give me your resources? Can you give me everything to help me on my journey? But I'm not going to give you anything in return. And if you ask me for anything in return, I will get offended. I don't care how long I've been following you. I don't care how long you've been helping me. If you ask me for anything in return, or if you ask me for even $10 for a product, I am going to bash you. So, listening to me explain the generous coach and the type of client that they will attract, I'm pretty sure that you can understand that this is a recipe for disaster, and this is not going to lead you to a sustainable business. But the problem with a lot of coaches is that we fall into the generous coach trap. When you are, first starting your coaching business, and maybe you have no experience in business and you never did anything like that before, sometimes you feel very insecure about charging higher prices, or sometimes you feel like, oh, I don't know enough, or I don't have enough experience, or I'm not qualified enough, or who am I to charge this? And so you give away too much. And that's something that we have to work on, especially if you want to see success in your business. And that actually leads a lot of people to the question where you ask yourself like, okay, since I'm not supposed to give away too much, should I give away anything at all? And I want you to understand that I'm not saying that to you at all. I'm not saying that you should have a business where every single thing that you offer or every single piece of advice that you give your client should be behind a paywall. It is okay to give away a little for free. And so what I want to do before we talk about how you should set up your business where you give away enough but not too much, I want to talk about the benefits of giving away a little bit for free. So the first benefit of giving away a little bit for free is that it helps you build a connection with your client. A lot of you, when you get confident, you're going to have higher tier prices. You're going to have products that you sell at $500, $2,000, $12,000. Some of you might even sell something for $75,000. But we have to be realistic, and we have to recognize that our clients are not going to go from being unaware of who we are to opting into a significantly high price product like a $2,000 course, right? There's going to be a gap between where they're starting, which is being unaware of who we are, and where we're trying to get them to go, which is signing up for a higher tier product. And your free content can actually bridge that gap in between both places. And the way that it does it is it builds a connection with your client. It helps your client get a hint of your personality. So I'll use myself for an example. One thing that I've been learning lately is stocks and trading. And there's a certain industry in the stock market that people talk about all the time. And I've tried to learn from many different people and I just could not understand it, right? And so I came across this girl on YouTube and I was watching her videos. I knew that she had a training where, you can pay for her course where she teach you more in depth, but she did have some free content on a YouTube channel. And she broke down this industry of stocks and how it works. And for the first time ever, I was able to understand this industry. Everyone else who tried to explain it to me before her, I was sitting there so confused, like, what are they talking about, But when she said it, I was like, oh, I don't know if it's her personality. I don't know if it's because I'm getting a gist of her teaching style, but she broke this down so effortlessly that for the first time, I've been able to understand it. And that made me actually want to opt in to her course because I liked her personality. I liked the way that she teach. I liked the way that she broke things down. And I got to witness that through her free content. Another thing about personality that, you have to take into consideration is making sure that not only your teaching style and the way that you break things down, but who you are as a person aligns with your client. So, for example, there are some coaches who I listen to, and a lot of them use curse words. So when they're talking or when they're doing their marketing or when they're breaking things down, they'll say a curse word. And I've noticed that they've come across some clients who really were turned off by that and was like, oh no, you curse. I don't do that. I actually believe in, expressing yourself intelligently and not using such vile language. And I'm not saying you cursing is you expressing yourself unintelligently, but there are people who believe that. So if you're giving them free content, they get a gist of your personality. Are you the type of person who curse? Are you the type of person who makes jokes? Like, are you an overly serious person and you just like to be committed to the program? They get to gauge all of this stuff in your free content, which helps them make the decision of if you are the right coach for them. The second thing that giving away a little bit of free content does is it helps you build credibility with your client. If we're going to be honest, there are a lot of people who are hesitant about the coaching industry. And the reason why is because you have a lot of people who teach fluff. They will sell you a dream. They will tell you, yes, I can get you to your transformation. And not only can I get you to your transformation, but I can get you there in 30 days and your life is going to change and it's not going to look the same and blah, 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 blah. Then you get into their program and their program is filled with things that you could have Googled yourself. And for this reason, it doesn't matter what type of client you are seeking, right? It doesn't matter if you're trying to seek a freebie client who just wants to pick your brain, or if you're trying to seek a high level client who is willing to spend whatever on a transformation that they strongly desire. Those clients are not going to dish money to you just for the fun of it. They want to have trust that you are capable to bring them to the transformation that you are promising them. And the way for that to happen is for you to prove your credibility to them before you ask them to opt into an offer. And I know that there are some coaches who will be hesitant about this because I've come across so many who will say things like, I can't give away things for free because if I give away things for free, then there's nothing for me to sell in my, paid offers. And I feel like if that's your mindset, then that is proof that you do not know enough about your industry to be coaching people on it. If you feel like if I give anything away for free, even if it's just a little, I have nothing left to do in my paid offers, then you do not know enough to help your client. By the time that you are charging people thousands of dollars for an offer, you should be somewhat of an expert in your field. You should know enough where you could talk about this topic all day. There's so much that you know. There's so much knowledge that you have. You can give them some things for free and still have a step-by-step guide to upsell them to. And if you don't have that, then kind of proves that you're not credible enough for them to work with you. And they will know that. So those are the two reasons why it's beneficial to have free content that you give away to your client. But I can't just leave you there with that. I have to actually teach you, how do I give away a little bit, enough for them to want to opt into my paid offer without giving away too much? The answer to this question is to think about your coaching business as a funnel. So when you think about your high ticket paid offer, let's say you have a coaching program, what is that helping them with, right? What is the transformation that they are going to get through your coaching program? Think about that first. And then I want you to start working backwards. So after you figure out what transformation they're going to get through your coaching program, you want to ask yourself, what are some ways that they can prepare for your coaching program through your smaller offers? What skill sets do they need to create? What habits do they need to pick up? What mindset shifts do they need to have? What is going to get them ready for your coaching program before they make the decision to opt into it? The reason why this question is important is because if you have a lot of things that you can use to prepare them, you can create smaller tier offers. And then that one thing that feels like the starting point that they need to get through in order to actually start your funnel is going to be what your free content is about. So I feel like you can do this in two different ways, right? Way number one is by creating free content that makes them aware of something. And way number two is by creating free content that helps them with a small, minor transformation. So let's start with making them aware of something. And I'm going to use an example. I actually want to use stocks because I've been learning a lot about stocks. So let's say that you are a stock coach and your overall transformation is to get your client into day trading, right? That's what you want your highest tier product to be about. Now, you understand that there's some things that they need to understand first before they can get started in day trading. The first thing that you feel like they need to understand is how to actually invest in long-term stocks. You're not just trying to teach them how to get a contract and, make a quick buck really quick in like 30 seconds, but I'm actually teaching you how to buy shares of a company and hold those shares long-term so that you can build growth over time. Now, you decide since day trading is going to be your higher tier product, the stocks and buying shares in stocks is going to be a lower tier product. But that's still not helping you understand what you need to give away for free. So you decide to observe your client and you notice that a lot of them are very hesitant about getting into the stock market. And the reason why they are hesitant is because they don't understand the stock market. They hear people talk about it. They hear it on the news where, you hear people say like, oh, Trump said something and the stock market went down, or Elon Musk said something and Tesla stock is down, but they don't really comprehend what that means. And so a lot of people aren't willing to move in an area that they feel ignorant in. And so you realize, oh my God, they don't understand stocks. So why don't I make my free content making them aware of what a stock is? I'm going to walk them through the stock market. I'm going to walk them through how the stock market became a thing. I'm going to walk them through how the stock market operates. I'm going to give them the basics of the stock market so that they can understand what it is, why it's a thing, how it's a thing, how it can help them. And then since they're now aware of it, they're definitely going to be interested in opting into my program that teaches them about buying shares of stocks, then opting into my program that teaches them about day trading, all because I made them aware. And you might question like, okay, but if I make them aware, aren't they just going to take that information and run? No, because think back to me when I said that I was stuck and I didn't understand an industry in the stock market. And I came across this girl and she was the first one who was able to break it down to me in a way that made sense. That made me want to opt into her program because I liked the way that she broke it down. And I liked the way that she transformed me from being ignorant to being knowledgeable in something. And so if you're the one who can break this down and finally be the one to explain to them what the stock market is or whatever the industry is that you're trying to make them aware of, they're definitely going to want to continue working with you because you already proved that you can get them a transformation. But like we said, awareness is not the only way that you can give them content. You can also give them content by giving them a smaller transformation. And what I mean by that is you think of something that is very minor that will be beneficial in their life, but is not that serious where you feel like you need to charge for it. And also, most importantly, it has to be intentional and it has to be aligned with getting them into the funnel all the way up to your coaching program or whatever your high tier product is. So an example of this, I have not launched my book yet, but I did write a book and it is called Dreaming to Achieving. This book is about teaching people how to transition from being a dreamer, the type of person who sits around all day, imagining and wishing and hoping and manifesting and praying, to actually being an achiever, a person who can create a detailed, intentional plan and take practical steps in order to see the thing that they're praying for. And so when it came to dreaming to achieving, I had to ask myself, what is something minor that I can help people with before they are ready for my book? I realized that I can help people believe again. Because the reason why I wrote this book is because I used to be a dreamer. And so I know that one of the consequences of being a dreamer is that it only takes you so far. And eventually you get to a place where you burn out. You feel like what you've been, desiring is not going to happen for you. And the spark and faith that you used to have in yourself starts to die. And so I realized a lot of people who are dreamers who I want to read my book, they're at that point. They're at that point where they've been dreaming for so long and not seeing a result that their faith in this thing has died. And so I feel like if I can do free content that's helping them believe again, that's helping them believe in themselves again, that's helping them find that spark, that's a transformation. Because they started off before my free content being doubtful, having no spark, to now feeling motivated, like I can do this. I am capable of doing this, and I am going to do this. So you can either do one of those ways. You can make them aware of something, or you can help them with a small, minor transformation. And it doesn't matter how you do it, right? You can do a YouTube channel where you talk about this over the course of time. You can do an Instagram live where you do it one time. You can do a webinar. It really doesn't matter. You just have to have intentional free content that has a purpose of funneling them in and opting them into your paid offer. And so I have talked entirely too much, so I'm going to end right here. I hope that the main thing that you took away from this is that you don't want to have a business where you give away everything you know. And you also don't want to have a business where you never give away anything. It's like every little piece of knowledge that you have is behind a paywall. You want your business to be in the middle, where it's like, I'm giving you something, but what I'm giving you is intentional and it's for a purpose to opt you in to something else. And also, what I'm giving you for free is not fluff. I'm not spending an hour on a webinar and the first 30 minutes is me showing you pictures of my family and my dog, and I'm just telling you the most stupidest stuff that does not matter. Even though I'm making you aware of something, I'm not just doing fluff and just talking in circles because I really don't know much about this industry. I have an intention of what I'm trying to help you with, and I plan that by the time you consume my free content, that intention will be achieved. That is how you want to approach your business. And so that is all that I have for you today. Before we go, I do have an action step that I want to give you. So sometime this week, I want you to create one piece of free content. I want this free content to either help your audience become aware or more understanding of a topic, or help them achieve a small goal. Then after that, I want you to think about your delivery. Do you want to do a YouTube video or a YouTube channel where you talk about this over time? Do you want to do an Instagram live? Do you want to do a webinar? Do you want to do a free training? Like, how are you going to deliver this free piece of content to your client? And once you get it finished, put in the comment section what your free content will be. But I have talked enough. I'm trying to get better of, not rambling. But that is all that I have for you today. Let me know in the comments how this episode has helped you, and I will see you next week.